To answer these questions, I think that America and the world as a whole needs to understand and really be educated on the definitions of othering, crisis, inhumanity, and inclusivity. I think that we must be proactive and have a wide understanding of our undeniable errors through time with an innate need to do better looking forward. I feel as though, unless people have been personally struck by tragedy, it's hard for them to care a substantial amount of time to really make a difference. We live in such a momentary society where one awful thing happens and people forget so easily. Living moment by moment, we're horrified by one thing and turn around and are focused completely on something else the next day, only to forget what horrified us the day before. But make no mistake, the minor inconveniences that we face today could not compare to the horrors that the Jews lived during the Holocaust. A tragedy that affected the globe, and only after it was over did we see any real attempts to help and salvage what was left. Othering. It goes hand in hand with marginalization. Othering is to view or treat a person or group of people intrinsically different from or alien to oneself. Marginalization, whether it be a person, a group, a concept, treated as insignificant. And most would argue that globally Jews were viewed as others and significantly marginalized at this time. We had the resources to get them to safety, but instead our backs were turned because it just was not our problem and not our burden to bear. No one wanted to help take responsibility and give these people a home, a sanctuary. We just didn't want that kind of baggage and responsibility. That was the message that the entire world drove home in a time of crisis. Crisis. It's a time of intense difficulty, trouble, or danger, a time of important decisions to be made, a turning point of a disease or a major event when important changes take place, indicating either recovery or death. When war ramped up and the decisions to help them fell on deaf ears, anti Semitism is what made this turning point their death sentence. Loaded up by the thousands, they were hauled off to camps to live a life of slave labor, of experimentation, with a severe lack of medical care. There was starvation and overcrowding. Nazis decided that gassing was a much easier end to the means than a shot to the head. There were 7 steps at the time to obtain a U.S. visa. And if it weren't all done, there were uh, expiration dates, and if it weren't all done on time, you would have to start all over, equating to thousands of dollars of today's money to obtain a U.S. visa. The odds were truly stacked against them. This to me was just a major deceit of an unfulfillable glimpse of freedom and a cruel joke to those who could not do anything but just hope that they had a chance. A great inhumanity to those who desperately needed help. Inhumanity is defined extremely cruel, inhumane, and brutal. It's vicious behavior, harshness, sadism, savagery, barbaric, and cruelty. Deceit, an action or practice of deceiving someone by concealing or misrepresentation. Indifference is a lack of interest, care, or concern, or an unimportance. Knowingly something unforgivable is going to happen, and then choosing indifference is more than cruel. It's barbaric and inhumane. Turning our backs solves no issues. Doing things retroactively are for mistakes, not for marginalization and inhumanity. To help solve a problem, you must identify the problem before you can fix it. And realizing that you have a problem and what you're up against, you have to be willing to make all the efforts that you have to fix it. We cannot let people forget what happened, but instead educate people. We can't forget being retroactive put an immeasurable bloodstain on our history with millions of Jews who were wrongfully othered and killed. The raw realness and severity of it during and after. We cannot let the accounts of the Jewish men and women who bared their souls reliving their troubled lives on film with tears in their eyes and cracks in their voice emotional. We cannot allow history and lessons learned to be lost in the sands of time. No man or woman is better than the next. No matter the race, religion, money, means, the continent you're born on, we must never forget to love thy neighbor and honor all of humanity, and learn from the mistakes to better achieve a stronger bonded global future.